7 Noahide Laws. It has become the new target for Pro Palestinian activists. But why would political activists care about the Noahide Laws? And what groups are they using to perpetuate their agenda? Let's take a look and find out. In April 2024, America witnessed as anti-Israel protests swept the nation. It started specifically at Columbia University. These Palestinian protests in America took place after the October 7th massacre. This massacre was led by the Gaza government that was elected by the Palestinian people, in which they slaughtered innocent Israeli civilians. However, the anti-Israel protests did not remain on the private property of the universities and actually took place all over the world. And regardless if it was taking place in Sydney, Australia, or New York, all these protests had something in common. Notice the key words the Hamas propagandists use as the newscaster reads their narrative.
Believe what they say. We don't believe it. We don't believe this. They have been very clear what they believe. You got one professor said that the warriors, the resistant fighters that were in Hamas, numbered less than 1,500. And look how they flipped the table. Not only on settler colonial state, but with no definable borders.
They all had an element of propaganda attached to them. They would use strategically chosen keywords and slogans. After several months, the 2024 protests calmed down after the riots turned violent and university presidents lost their job. This calm would not remain and protests would be reignited in February 2025. Tensions started to flare back up after 2 students randomly accosted a class on the history of modern Israel and passed out pro-Hamas propaganda flyers. To add fuel to the fire, protesters were furious that the newly elected President Donald J. Trump and his administration started to deport a Syrian non-U.S. citizen here as a guest via a green card when they started pushing Hamas terrorist propaganda. And while the majority of people who follow the news were keenly aware of the reinvigoration of this protest, what most people don't know is that Hamas propagandists have a new target, and they're using a specific group of people to reach their goals. As a public speaker on various Jewish topics, I get friend requests and followers from all different types of people. And while I try to vet each profile, there will be opposition trolls that slip through the cracks. So agitators trying to connect with me isn't really anything new. However, finding one that infiltrated the Noahide community stood out to me. Meet Anita Messica. She had several posts on the Noahide Laws and even spearheaded some WhatsApp groups. Here is the video evidence of Anita stating that she actually runs the WhatsApp groups on a Zoom call that was uploaded to YouTube by Noahide Academy.
Needs one couple of quick notes. There will be a WhatsApp group that participants are welcome to join. That will be coming up shortly. And I appreciate everything. Thank you, Needs, for a wonderful class.
Not only was she spearheading WhatsApp groups, but as you could see here, she was even a writer for the Noahide Academy. She tricked many people into thinking that she was on the up and up. This happens and isn't the fault of any organization that believed her sincerity. Considering the fact that her mother is a Christian from India and she was pushing a lot of Noahide material, I was very surprised when she said she was a Jew. Not only does she declare herself to be Jewish, but she does so in a post that denounces the state of Israel. Now, let me make something very clear. Criticizing the government of Israel is not the problem. There are plenty of God-fearing Jews that have critique against the government of Israel and how they're operating things. However, when that criticism is based on a lie, then it becomes anti-Semitic. Not only that, but regardless of what the criticism is, there is absolutely no excuse to promote the Palestinian movement, which ultimately supports Hamas propaganda. Right here we could see it's not just about her taking issue with the policies of the government of Israel, as she supports Mahmoud Khalil, someone with proven ties to the Hamas organization. On one of the flyers organized by Mahmoud Khalil, it literally says Hamas Media Office. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that he was absolutely in support of the terrorist agenda. Now, Anita seems to be a proponent of using what's called doublespeak. While on the surface, she seems to be endorsing President Trump and his endeavors with Israel and Palestine, she actually posted this Happy Purim post on the same day that she endorsed Mahmoud Khalil, both posted on March 13th. What's really upsetting is that she tries to connect Judaism to her pro-Palestinian political activism. Not only does she claim to be Jewish when she denounces the state of Israel, she actually tries using the Torah to justify her Mahmoud Khalil support and Palestinian activism. And her doublespeak knows no boundaries. When she was actively involved in the Noahide community, she seems to denounce the Quran and by extension Muslims for their anti-Semitism. However, when she wants to come out of the closet and admit that she actually supports Palestine, she goes on a rant about Ramadan and the Jewish month of Adar. Further on in the post that she shared, we could see that they are blatantly making a connection between the pain of the Jewish people and the difficulties that she says the Palestinian people are facing. I mean, I could go on and on with evidence about how she's denouncing Palestine when she's trying to get involved with the Noahide community, but then says Mahmoud Khalil is a really good guy. So where did she stand prior to October 7th? Well, if we go back to November 2nd of 2020, we could see that she was already making comparisons with conservatives, Republicans, the Trump administration, and ISIS. She was also attending events by the Islamic Association regarding LGBTQ identity. And it seemed like she wasn't concerned with the Torah at all as she was promoting cannabis. But the political movement she seemed to post a lot about was Black Lives Matter. However, Anita would not be the only one to try and connect with me, as Simon Jetterson sent me a friend request, accused Zionism of being an occupation, and mocked the fact that Trump supports the Noahide Laws. Simon also seemed to talk about the Tanakh and Christianity, and would post racially charged accusations against America. And Simon isn't the only one talking about Christianity, as I confronted Anita directly and asked her why she's claiming she's a Jew. Here's what Anita tried to say.
Jewish conversion. Just to satisfy your strange curiosity about my religion and make you scratch your head, I received Israeli citizenship and lived in Israel as a Christian.
To which I promptly replied, that doesn't make you Jewish. Living in Israel as a Christian is not a conversion. However, I would find countless posts by people that supported the pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian movement that were associated with Christianity, Black Lives Matter, and condemned the Noahide movement. As we can see here, both of these posts were posted by a Jay Barbour in which he supports Black Lives Matter and condemns the Noahide Laws. Here's another individual by the name of Oliver Thompson that clearly condemns the Noahide Laws and supports the Palestinian movement and goes the extra step to call Jews the evil synagogue of Satan. And this post seems to hit everything in a one-stop shop and is really obvious about the agenda. Not only does he communicate the Noahide Laws in a way that is to incite fear because he says,
Noahide Law was activated.
He ties in Gaza and directly accuses Trump of racism when he says ethnic cleansing. And just as many tried to associate Zionism with Nazism, this post right here on March 5th that was conveniently dropped after the pro-Palestinian protest started to tick back up in 2025 connects the Noahide Laws to Nazism. But what is the connection, if any, with the pro-Palestinian Hamas propaganda movement and Black Lives Matter? Well, it didn't take me long to find Palestinian organizations targeting the Black community.
In Gaza, we see on our TV screens the protests of Black Lives Matter in America, the outrage at police brutality, excessive imprisonment, higher unemployment, and the lack of affordable housing. And we nod our heads. Your injustice looks amazingly like our injustice.
That's right, folks. Palestinian organizations are intentionally targeting the Black community and making a false equivalence between their terrorist agenda and issues of racism here in America. But now that we know they are intentionally targeting the Black community, it makes you question their watermelon symbol. I mean, I'm sure they've come up with some sort of convoluted logic in order to portray their lie as the truth. It doesn't justify the targeting of Blacks by using imagery that's associated with racist stereotypes. And if you want proof that Hamas is behind it, you can even find the watermelon symbol on PalestinianPosterProject.org, which is the same website that has the Hamas media flyers on it. And while Hamas activists have seemed to target people of color in a lie that states that they've got a shared struggle, it seems they've equally reached out to Christians that have a misconception about the Noahide laws, rejected and have formed conspiracy theories. And this is probably due to the fact that Jewish organizations and media outlets have discussed Hamas's war on Israel from the context of the Noahide laws and a Torah perspective. And just as it is a lie that the Hamas terrorist organization is a victim of racism, it is equally a lie that Christians will be put to death according to the Noahide laws. But because there is a lack of understanding as to what the Noahide laws are, there are conspiracy videos coming out against the Jews and Noahides.
Okay, this is the 5th time making this video over and over again. The volume's no good. Copyright strikes, blah, blah, blah. This, that, and the other thing. It's weird. When you put something out that touches on Israel or anything like that, you have nothing but issues, and I don't expect...
The Sanhedrin has sent Donald Trump a letter asking him to be part of their divine council and to pretty much institute the Noahide laws. So
just to educate us then and let us know, what can you tell us about what are the Noahide laws and where do those laws come from? That's the first question.
Okay, so a lot of Jews will tell you that they come from the Bible, that they come from the Torah, and some Christians will even tell you that they come from the New Testament in the book of Acts 15, but that's not true.
The Sanhedrin also called on the new president to acknowledge and uphold the 7 Noahide laws. So the Talmud, again, the oral written traditions of the rabbis, calls for the capital punishment for Gentiles who violate the Noahide laws. And this has led some to debate as to whether or not Christians who worship Jesus Christ are guilty of violating the first Noahide law and therefore deserving of the death penalty.
I could go on and on and on. I read testimonies, watched videos, I went to Jewish source papers, even learned about how the Chabad organization is working tirelessly with the UN to use the Noahide laws to encompass all Gentiles under Judaism. You can even go here to Noahide.com, where they even thank Nikki Haley for working to bring about world peace through the Noahide laws. In case you're not aware, the first law, no idolatry, for the Chabad organization and for the Sanhedrin, which will be helping enforce these laws, includes no belief in Jesus. And according to the 1906 Jewish Encyclopedia, the punishment for breaking the Noahide laws, which would include belief in Jesus, is decapitation, as you can see here in the Jewish Encyclopedia under Noahide laws.
As you can see, there is a lot of fear and a lot of misinformation and lack of understanding about what the Noahide laws actually are. Now, this video is not intended to give a dissertation or a teaching on the Noahide laws. However, I'm going to address what they actually are and debunk some of the fear-mongering surrounding them. First of all, the Noahide laws are not the result of some sort of evil Talmud that's coming to get you. Most of the Noahide laws can be found in the book of Genesis. Some are in chapter 2 and some are in chapters 8 and 9, just as an example. The Noahide laws include the following 7 categories. 1. Do not worship idols. Sounds pretty simple. 2. Do not curse God. It's also written, do not blaspheme against God. Also pretty simple. Number 3, do not murder. Even an atheist can get behind that one. Number 4, refrain from sexual immorality. You know what? I think that there's a whole lot of adultery going on today, and if anybody thinks that telling a spouse they shouldn't cheat on their spouse is a terrible thing, well, then get in line for divorce court. Number 5, do not eat the flesh of a living animal. And if you've got an issue with that one, it's not the Jews you have to worry about, it's PETA. Number 6, do not steal, a law you already have to follow today. Number 7, establish courts of justice. Anybody who likes to live in a civilized society where there is due process would absolutely get behind this. So again, what's the issue? Well, for the Christians, it seems they believe they will be beheaded for believing in Jesus Christ. However, the same news agency that they're splashing all over social media claiming that Gaza is guilty of the Noahide laws is the exact same news agency that says Christianity is permitted shituf. In other words, while Jews don't believe in Christianity, that's why there's two separate religions, they don't hold Christians liable for their belief in Jesus. So any notion that there's going to be a death penalty for believing in Jesus is a flat out conspiracy not coming from a holy place. So what about the article that says that Gaza guilty by the Noahide laws? Well, Gaza is not outside of Israel. It is a settlement established by colonialists, and just like every nation today, in biblical prophecy, when Israel's run by the King Messiah, it will have its own laws and immigration policies. Maybe the real issue that Hamas propagandists have with the Noahide laws is that one that says, do not murder. Yeah, that's probably it. The bottom line is that if Jews intended to control all non-Jews, why would they tell Noahides to set up a system of justice? So when you see this Noahide Nazi propaganda circulating on social media, just know that it's most likely coming from Hamas propagandists. So in conclusion, Christians, you've got nothing to worry about at all. Do not let terrorists play you for a fool and make false equivalences. And be cautious of those who claim to support Palestine and the Orthodox Jewish community. Thanks for watching, guys.